Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here. In this video, I'll be going over the battle in the Royal Menagerie, the final encounter in 4.0's main scenario quest. The boss here is a pretty big spoiler, so if you don't want to be spoiled, turn away now. Only doing this because it was highly requested. This fight rewards no armor, though it does reward some Verity Tomestones, especially for first time bonus. This fight is broken up into 3 major phases. To skip to a specific phase, please use the time skips in the description of the video. Phase 1 starts off introducing you to a lot of mechanics you'll see more of in Phase 3. Just beware of falling off, as it is possible in all phases. The boss himself will auto-attack with each wing, targeting primarily tanks. Each tank will take 1 auto each most of the time, but if one of them dies, then a single tank will end up taking both of the auto-attacks. If the boss starts using a wing to perform a mechanic, then that wing will stop auto-attacking until it is done. The boss also uses Ak Morn, a tank buster that hits multiple times. Its damage will be split between the main tank and a single party member standing near them. Basically, just have both tanks stand on top of each other for this, with the rest of the party standing away from it. As for those wing mechanics I mentioned, if the right wing emits an ominous glow, he'll do a thunder AoE marker on each player, so spread out. If his left wing emits an ominous glow, he will either summon icicles from opposite sides of the room that charge down in a line AoE, or just do an ice AoE on the entire field that does light damage. For the most part, it is just dodge AoEs and kill the boss, such as those icicles, and there is also a stack AoE that you'll need to remember for Phase 3, but there are a few specific noteworthy AoEs. Every time the boss's corrupted ether gauge fills, it will use a super attack of a different element, one from each of the original 6 of Realm Reborn primals, and each having their own additional effect. The one most people died to almost immediately upon entering is Tidal Wave, which spawns on one side of the arena and knocks everyone towards the opposite side of the arena. When you see Tidal Wave casting, locate where it is and move towards that side that it's casting from. Get real close to the edge because it can knock you off even if you're just kinda near it, but not really all the way. Once Tidal Wave finishes, it'll also spawn several puddles. The only time you'll stand in these puddles is if the boss is going to cast Hellfire, one of his other corrupted ether attacks. Standing in the puddle during Hellfire will allow you to survive the damage, though you will still get a burn effect afterwards. On the contrary, if you are hit by anything lightning aspected while in a puddle, it will kill you, so definitely don't do that, as I learned the hard way. He has a Judgment Bolt super attack from his corrupted ether as well, so take care where you're standing during that. The only other mechanic worth noting is Earth Breath, which places 2 markers on players before doing a large conal AoE in each of their directions, and placing a dot on anyone hit. I just recommend stacking up on the markers, or stacking the markers up I should say, to ensure they don't hit too much of the arena, and then move out of the AoEs that come afterwards. After the boss does 2 corrupted ether attacks, he will transition into Phase 2. Phase 2 is a timed phase in which players must kill 3 waves of Hakenryu and Ginryus. When each wave is spawning, they will do several proximity AoEs, so just get to the spot farthest from as many as possible, even if that's sometimes right in between 2 of them. The first wave will be 1 Hakenryu and 2 Ginryus. Have the tanks pick these up, especially the Hakenryu, very quickly, since it will just decimate your DPS or your healers. Whichever tank has the Hakenryu should make sure to keep it facing away due to its cleave attack, and be ready to use a tank cooldown on Death Sentence, which is its tank buster ability. You can usually just focus the Hakenryu while lightly AoEing the Ginryus, and everything should die pretty quickly. For Wave 2, it'll be 1 Hakenryu and 3 Ginryu with the same strategy. The final wave is 5 Ginryus, which all have very low health, so you should just AoE them down fast. After the final set, Shinryu will use an undodgeable AoE before chaining everyone up and activating an active time maneuver. Simply spam press buttons during this ATE and you'll pass it well enough. If you do fail the ATE, you will be instantly killed upon Phase 3 beginning, which starts right after this. Phase 3 Shinryu brings you to a new platform before immediately hitting almost the entire thing with an AoE, so sprint to the sides when you see it. One of the more important mechanics in this phase is Shinryu's Tail Slam. Every once in a while, Shinryu will use a long animation showcasing him stretching his tail underneath the arena, before it rises back up and slams down on 2 of the platforms from whichever side you see the tail dipping under. First of all, don't be standing under the AoE his tail creates, but more importantly, all of the outer platforms can be broken by this tail slam. The first tail slam on these platforms will weaken it, and a second one will break it, giving you less room to dodge or position, and increasing the risk that you fall off. Luckily, the middle platform can never break. Once he slams his tail down, players should focus on killing his tail as quickly as possible. If you are able to kill the tail, it removes a large portion of Shinryu's health, speeding up the fight substantially. Keep in mind that if his tail breaks all the platforms it's slamming onto, it will immediately retreat and not be attackable. As for Shinryu's other attacks, he'll still use Hellfire and Thunderbolt from Phase 1, but now also has access to Aerial Blast, Diamond Dust, and Earthern Fury with his Corrupted Ether. Diamond Dust turns the floor into ice, meaning you should stop moving entirely when you see Diamond Dust casting. Any movement after a cast will send you flying in that direction, potentially off the side of the arena. It also summons puddles like Tidal Wave did back in Phase 1. Earthern Fury just deals damage, but it also damages one of the outer platforms similar to his tail, so it can break them as well. Aerial Blast will gradually push you back from the center of the room while it's casting, before pushing everyone much further once it actually finishes. All three of these attacks, including all the attacks from the first phase that use Corrupted Ether, also do a considerable amount of damage, so consider using shields and making sure people are topped off for them. Also keep in mind he doesn't always use these attacks in the same order. Just know that he won't use Hellfire unless there are puddles placed on the ground from Diamond Dust. One of Shinryu's wings also gains a new attack during this phase in addition to its Phase 1 mechanics. When the left wing emits a glow, it can now also chain two players together, which will deal damage over time until those players run far enough away from each other. Some other attacks Shinryu has now include Shinryu sometimes smashing his hand into the middle of the arena, which is really just an AoE to avoid. Try not to ever be standing dead center in the arena for this reason. He usually does this just before his Corrupted Ether bar is about to be filled, so preemptively moving away around 80 Ether should work. Now I have never seen this fight drag on too long, maybe no more than 3 or 4 of these punches, but I have to assume that at some point, maybe he'll break through it, some sort of enrage, but I can't confirm that, just beware. Akmorn is still carried over from the first phase, however it now also summons a pulsing AoE on a random party member, so if that's you, move out of it. Finally, he takes flight and does a giant AoE like the one he used at the start of the phase every 2 Corrupted Ether attacks, while also changing the side he will fight you on. For the most part, that's all you need to know about the individual abilities. Shinryu does like combining them in very specific ways that can catch pugs off guard though. For example, he'll often summon Icicle AoEs while slamming down his tail, or he'll do his punch attack in the middle platform alongside his split damage AoE. I will say there was one marker that I got left clueless on, since nothing actually happened while I had it, and I got it at the same time as the fire chains. I've watched over multiple kills, and the only thing I think it might do is direct where his tail slam is going to come from right after. That's the only thing I could possibly see it doing. Other than that, Shinryu is a fairly straightforward fight with a lot of mechanics that you've seen before, just coming at you all at once. I would say, please be patient with the Duty Finder. A lot of people are trying to do this without looking up a video, without looking up a guide, because up to this point you haven't really needed one for the main scenario quest, especially looking back at the Singularity Reactor for 3.0, where it was completely doable without a guide. I wouldn't even say people really need a guide for this fight, but you, if you're watching this, and you're someone who now knows the fight, or is watching this even after you've already known the fight, I'd ask that you be patient with them, do your best to explain it, and do your best to get through without really getting too much attitude onto the new players. It's going to be a struggle for some, but when this comes out in Extreme, that's probably where you'll want to save your salt for. On that note, we're going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned because I've got to finish up the rest of my dungeon guides as well as Susanoo and Lakshmi Extreme guides, so be on the lookout for those. I'll see you next time, and until then, take care.